All right, welcome everybody to another CapTech LinkedIn Live. I'm Brad Sims. I'm president of Capital Technology University. And today we have Dr. Hayden Land, who is the CEO and CTO for Safely2Prosperity. He's been a former board of trustees chair for Capital Technology University. So welcome, Dr. Land. Could you tell everybody a little bit about your connection to Capital Tech to start off with?
Yeah, certainly, Brad. I appreciate the opportunity to talk today, and I'm looking forward to the discussion. So my relationship with Capital goes back 15 years, back into probably 2007, 2008 timeframe, where I first was exposed to, at the time, Capital College. And what intrigued me with the institution was the focus on cybersecurity and data science, which were clearly important in evolving fields. And a couple of years later, I became an industry advisor, was heavily involved in the stand-up of the Cyber Battle Lab, did several speaking engagements, provided research and technical guidance, and ultimately influenced the first two doctoral programs, the cybersecurity and data science. And while looking back from today, as I understand it, next semester there's going to be 500 doctoral students across many other discipline degrees. So great job, to the team there. In 2012, I received an honorary doctorate degree in honoris causa, human letters from the institution for my efforts. And a couple of years later, I was elected to the board of trustees, held numerous committee positions, was involved in the shift from a college institution to a university institution, standing up several of the programs, growing the board, establishing rigor, and also ran the presidential search, which actually resulted in Brad Sims becoming our 8th president. And he's been doing a wonderful job, very dedicated since then and all the way through now. In 2018, I was elected as a board chairman, performed that role through 2022 in June, at which time I completed all my terms. I stepped down, and I was honored later in the year, last October, I was awarded emeritus trustee status. The 6th individual since the 97-year history of the institution. So I feel we're proud of that, and I believe I'm the only living person at that status right now. So a wonderful relationship with Capital, and when I took on this role at S2P, I wanted to continue that and reach out to Brad, and earlier this year we signed an MOU and are working together on it. So that's sort of the background, a great history, and I'm looking forward, for it to continue in other ways.
Yes, you have a great history here, and I think whenever you left, you didn't think you're going to move on to another position like you have. So now that you're at the Safely2Prosperity, could you explain what is Safely2Prosperity and what's your solution offerings that you do offer for that organization?
Yeah, certainly. We are an innovative startup company that's focused on infectious disease risk management and overall business health and wellness. And we have a culture of passion and performance that's deeply rooted in our core values of accountability, integrity, trust, ethics, and caring. And many of the leaders and the advisory board members come from regulated industries, whether it's aerospace and defense, healthcare, and government, where those values are instrumental. So we offer a SaaS cloud-based solution that's HIPAA compliant, and where information security is taken very seriously at the infrastructure level, the application level, and the data level. And we have security experts, as you would expect, on the board. Our infectious disease risk management platform supports multiple diseases and locations, unlike our competitors. It's highly flexible, highly configurable, and can help automate the tracking of screening, testing, vaccination, precautions, meaning if you should quarantine or if you should isolate, exposure tracking, and travel monitoring. There are an extensive array of management reports at the department level, site level, functional level, company-wide level, as well as very robust employee and management alarming and alerting of, hey, you need to take a test, you're late for a vaccine, you've been exposed, you should isolate, you should quarantine. And very robust dashboards for the HR executives, safety executives, C-suite, and so on. In addition to our platform, as part of the license, we provide a knowledge management portal free to licensed users, and that has extensive content on pandemic preparedness and response, other business health and wellness material, and news on our products, news from our advisory board members, hand guides on pandemic planning, and many other resources. So that, in summary, is what we offer, and we're pleased that we're currently actively going to market.
I'm going to pull up the website just so everybody can see it. So here's the website, the front page of it, Safely2Prosperity. Is there anything you like to highlight?
Yeah, I'll probably talk about this, but clearly we want to ensure and make people aware the threat still exists. And if you scan down a bit, there's some metrics that we track from COVID in partnership with CDC and some of the estimates on upcoming threats by the administration. And if you scan a little further down, it talks about some of the industry recognitions that I'll reference earlier. And then an actual article that appeared on the cover of Forbes, New York, London, about a month and a half ago, that has the information on our formal company and solution launch. There's also a features page on product capabilities. There's an about page on our board and our partners, and a number of other useful assets, various quotes and testimonials. So I would encourage those interested in infectious disease management, pandemic and endemic preparedness and response to visit our website, check it out, and you want more information, there's many ways to request it and or a demo.
The URL for the website is scrolling across the bottom of this broadcast, so if you want to check it out, Safely2Prosperity, and the 2 is the actual number 2.com. What problem does your solutions address for folks who want to use it?
All right, that's a good question. Now, Brad, you know my background. Much of that has been aerospace and defense, particularly in the warfighter domains of air, land, sea, space. Spent nearly 25 years, 30 years in that, in addition to predominantly regulated commercial markets. So healthcare agencies that serve that particular domain, and others where there's stringent regulations. Much of what I saw in the warfighter domain in my career, as I got deeper into cybersecurity, I saw applicability. So roughly 20 years ago, when I'm neck deep in cyber, cloud computing, big data, mobility, and related concepts, I saw similarities in the warfighter capabilities and best practices as I worked on defensive and offensive cyber solutions for customers and allied nations. Now, fast forward to Safely2Prosperity, or what we call S2P, and the bio threat that's evolving, meaning nature-made viral threats or man-made viral threats. That evolves into pandemics, endemics, chemical attacks. And I envision and have seen similarities on how you can address that using similar techniques that we apply to cyber and similar techniques that we apply to the warfighter domain. So an example, for the warfighters out there, typical warfare stages are reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and then action on objectives. And how one responds has similarities as well. You detect, deny, disrupt, degrade, and deceive. So one of the items that Capital Technology University and S2P has done is we've come up with some dissertation topics that will hopefully be worked on in the future because we jointly are supporting a new PhD program where some of this work and applying best practices in some of these other domains to pandemics will be applied. Now, to be more specific on the bio threat, and then I'll get into what our problem addresses. We just went through a very difficult and challenging COVID dilemma. We're going to have a spike here in the fall, as pointed out by the CDC director, Walensky. There's going to be increased COVID, which is not as deadly, fortunately, but influenza and RSV are going to be peaking as well. So they're envisioning a triple endemic in the United States. And from a caseload perspective, if you look at COVID from June 23 and before, there were 104 million cases of COVID in the United States. The anticipation is throughout this fall surge and into early next year, there will be as many cases in one of those diseases. So the threat is not here. And looking through, the past century, swine flu, SARS, HIV, AIDS, Hong Kong flu, Asian flu, influenza, and others, there's going to be another. And then, of course, you got the risk of a bioterrorism threat, some form of a chemical attack. And another data point I like to make is NATO, where I worked quite close with during my career, has raised the risk level of a biothreat vector equal to that of cyber and the others. And lastly, there's over 1 billion people today that live in globalization areas where they're close to wild animals. Now, that's South Asia, South America, and West Africa, as an example. So that is essentially the threat diagram. Now, what we do is we help avoid lockdowns and life stops. And hopefully we'll work with the government to allow companies to demonstrate their preparedness in a future event such as COVID, that they could say, hey, we prepared ourselves and we can stay open. There's always going to be essential services that need to stay open, but what we hope to do is to help businesses be better prepared. We help empower leadership to better protect their employees and supply chain partners, which ultimately helps the end customers and their bottom line. With a robust and highly configurable alerting, alarming, and reporting capability, we can improve organizational efficiency and related work productivity, as well as reduce attrition. Now, some of the awards that you briefly showed on the website, I'll just mention 3 of them. We've had industry look at our product, look at our capability, look at our solution and our value add. And we received a top healthcare risk management services providers recognition from Healthcare Business Review. We received the most trusted infectious disease management solution providers from Life Sciences. Yeah, those are right there. And Digital First recently recognized us as the most imminent healthcare companies. So we're pretty excited about some of the press we're getting. And in addition to the Forbes article that you see there, we've been on magazine covers of World Leaders Magazine, CIO Today, and Business Talk, as well as Empire. And those articles, you can go to those websites and see those. So we've really been trying to get the message out, as well as work with Congress on some lobbying activities to hopefully influence future legislation. And at this point, I normally point out, hey, please check out our website, but Brad's way ahead of me. He already provided that information, so I really appreciate that. So in summary, we think we got the right valuable proposition for businesses, and it is our opinion they need to get prepared, because they don't want to suffer through another situation like COVID, because it will come. Whether it comes by nature or comes by man, it's going to happen again.
So with that, and you mentioned about the governments and the businesses, what really are the targeted markets that your customers are?
A great question. So to start, clearly, if you recall in COVID, a lot of businesses had to shut down due to the lack of preparedness, but essential businesses had to stay open to keep the country going. And that was your food manufacturers, your distributors, your military bases, your any essential services and products associated with healthcare, as well as a healthcare system. So clearly, helping the essential services and providers stay open and better manage the safety of their employees is a top line target area. Secondly, any organization or industry where having the employees on premise doing work is required is a key target. And prime examples are manufacturers, hospital systems, nursing homes, public health agencies, tourism, logistics companies, three-letter agencies, and in many cases, university and college campuses, where there's, students on campus. So that essentially is the top level are essential service providers. The next level are organizations and companies that need employees on site. And I just gave examples of those types. I lost sound. I lost sound.
Sorry about that. I fixed that. I said, where are you in your company's launch and startup timeframe?
Okay. Yeah, it was in August where we formally launched our platform as well as the knowledge management portal. And the details of that launch are, you can read through the couple-page article in the Forbes cover page off the website, the main website page. Now we have initiated early customer onboarding, an incentive program for both the United States and India. And we currently have onboarded and have up and running our first client, Global Tree in India. And we're in the second discussions with our second. My goal, or our collective goal, is by end of the year to have 5 clients up and running through the combination of US and India locations. The idea is to optimize the system. We're currently at version 2 with English only customers. And then when we go to version 3, our first translation will be in Japanese, where that's our next targeted market where we have a pipeline. One of our advisory board members is a very well-known senior executive entrepreneur in Japan and is doing a great job lining up sort of the version 3. So that's our, I want to hit December 30, have 3 customers, or 5 customers.
Excellent. Who's the leadership team? Who's on it? And who are your key partners?
Yeah, that's really important to have the right people behind the company. And hey, I see you got John up there. John is our founder and chairman. Dr. Norris was the COO of the FDA for many years, a Harvard professor, and a very successful entrepreneur in regulated markets. So he envisioned this and saw this whole gap in solutioning organizations to be better prepared and respond to pandemics and related disasters. And, we really think we got something here that can help. As for me, I'm the CEO and CTO, as you mentioned, 35 years in the aerospace and defense field, as I mentioned before, mostly in Lockheed Martin, CTO, CTI, CTO, VP of engineering, VP of research, also worked for IBM, L'Oreal, Space Systems. I ran my own cyber consulting firm and roughly had during that period probably 35 years in academic board experience for 4 organizations, 2 of which I was chairman. So that's a general background. Now, just in summary, the users can go to our About page and look at the individuals that enter our board, but at a high level, we have an amazing advisory board, prominent individuals across industry, academia, and government, and you can slowly scan through those. All their bios can be seen on our website. They include global terrorism, DNA, genomics, healthcare, military, cybersecurity, manufacturing, pandemic, diversity, inclusion, and government experts. So I'm real pleased with the team that we got and our partners. Our development partner predominantly is DiCorp. Our lead generation partner is Accelerate 8 Now. Our marketing partner is Hyperbrand Creative. Some of our workforce extension is through Apprentice and AI Vets. And of course, Capital. Capital Technology University is our academia education partner.
Well, how does the licensing of the solutions work through your company?
Yeah, we have a unique method for licensing that sort of addresses the peak and valley of pandemic-like um, threat vectors. So obviously, when you're in a situation like COVID, you want to get ultimate protection for your business and have the visibility you need, the alerting that you need, the testing and the vaccinations, et cetera, that need to be monitored. But in a sort of a valley period, you want to be able to back off on some of that functionality and just be ready to enable it again. So what we had done is, the primary license vehicle is called an active license. And right now that's applicable in the US and India, where you can protect all your employees across all your locations using the solution, as well as have access to the knowledge management portal. There's also a lower cost, risk mitigated approach called a preparedness license. And in that case, you set up the system for a subset of your organization, a subset of your locations, maybe a functional area. So let's say you're a manufacturer with sites in California, Florida, and New York, and you say have 3,000 employees across those locations. So in the system, we would configure the solution for that subset of 3,000 employees just at those locations and provide that functionality, and then build out all the integration, the reporting, the alerting, the job titles, and everything that is consistent for the broader company, but only turn it on for that subset and refine and perfect sort of that solution for that part of the company. And that way they can also see the value of the solution without committing overall. And then when a big risk comes that enables a threat like COVID, then the company can quickly expand the solution to the broader company and then fold into the active licensing scheme. So we thought it was important to provide an entry point to protect and configure and refine the system at a much lower cost, and then be one of those folks who are ready to enable. And those who have a preparedness license have priority over new customers that we're onboarding. So that's how we're approaching. And in both cases, the knowledge management portal that I referenced before is free to the leadership team of the license, whether it's a preparedness license or a active license. So in summary, that's where we are.
Gotcha. So one last question on the organization. What are the key next steps to fully populate the early customer program and close on initial equity funding that you got going on?
Okay, that's a good question. So we focused our intense marketing efforts, I would say around second half 2023, where we were very active in pushing out advertisements in key magazines and newspapers, and increased our ad activity on the internet, as well as a number of these magazine articles, and hired a lead generation firm and so on. More recently, towards the end of August, we initiated email, LinkedIn, and Google campaigns, working with Accelerate 8 Now and Hyperbrand Creativity. So we're actively, and some of you may have got this already, but we're sending out campaigns through emails and LinkedIn and Google to start to introduce S2P, to the industries that we think we have relevance. And a part of that strategy was, getting contact lists of the type of people that we're targeting, such as HR executives, safety executives, board members, C-level positions, and related positions in the industries that I talked about. So we're starting to see some warm leads come in, and we're hoping to, over the next couple months, as you would expect, get more customers interested in the early onboarding incentive program, because getting this capability on a relatively low cost approach now is going to give you certainly a competitive advantage in the future when the rest of your the rest of the companies, your organization, your industry need to respond to something similar. Now, about equity investment, we've been fortunate with some of our members and advisors and partners that we've been completely self-funded since the start of the company. But we need to end that because we need to scale. So right now I have a plan to fully self-fund the company through the end of December, but we must obtain equity funding to really span the sales organization, span our infrastructure, build out some of the company functional areas that we need. And the first call will be $2 million. And we're working out what equity preferably investment banker we get for that. I anticipate closing on that between December, late December, no later than early January. And later in 2024, I suspect a second round of funding will be in the range of $10 million. Once we show more growth in the company and have a good pipeline, good MMR data to justify that. So the 2 million will be sort of launching us in a no kidding, let's go after the market. And then the 10 million will be, hey, we're successful to date. Let's now take everything to the next level.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Things are moving along quickly from your startup, and folks should jump on right now at the beginning to build up their programs. Like, as you mentioned, get ahead of the curve. If you're interested in a doctoral online degree, Capital Technologies healthcare technology degree, PhD, that's online. As Dr. Land mentioned, you can even work with them on a project to research for your dissertation, which would be helpful to both you and them. So if you're interested in contacting either Dr. Land or myself, you can certainly do that through LinkedIn. We both are available on LinkedIn to read your request and connect you to the right party. Anything else? We're coming up on the end of the 30 minutes, Dr. Land. So is there anything in closing that you'd like to talk about?
Well, just a call to action. Let's get better prepared for the next time. And if you're a cyber professional or you're a warfighter professional, there's applicability in your skills to this domain and vice versa. And that's something that initially I did not anticipate happening, but it is clear, and that was a key driver in documenting these dissertation topics and submitting them to Capital, and further establishing our MOU. We do other things together and plan to do some more interesting things in the future. But I'm pretty excited about where we are, where we're going, and I really appreciate the partnership, with Brad and his team, and where we could take this thing going in the future, and how they can help enable careers in this domain with their excellent portfolio.
All right. Well, I want to thank anybody who was able to listen to us live on LinkedIn for our 30-minute Cap Tech LinkedIn Live. This, of course, is recorded, so you can click on the recording as soon as we're done here and listen to it. And there'll be a copy available on YouTube as well at the end of this. So thank you for anybody in attendance in our live portion, and have a good day.
All right, Brad, thank you. Take care.
Thank you.